Good morning, YouTube. I got just an hour or so before I have to leave away for the weekend. I work away from home during the weekend, so I usually get my last video in on Fridays. This message here is a video response I want to give to Chevy Cheeseburger. He asked us yesterday, how do you feel about criticism? Now, what you're looking at here is just some projects to give you guys some eye candy, just to you know, this is some of the stuff that I do. Exact same kit. On this one here, I took the 70 Impala roof and put it on here, and on here I got the 66 Chevelle roof that I put on here. And you know, you look now. Chip had asked, how do you feel about criticism? And I'm gonna take you guys back. I might have said this before, but when I was young, my dad had show cars. And he had real show cars, and he also had built models, but my dad was just a box stock model builder. Me, I got into it in 1980. Really got into it. That's when my dad finally let me on my own. I got my own kit, and I sat down at the table. So I started building for a few years. By 1985, I'm 10 years old. My dad has 71 Torino GT real show car, and he takes it to what would be like a cruise night, all Ford fun night thing we had. We used to have a drag strip here in the Midwest called KCIR. We go to this fun run just for Fords, and I'm sitting there with my dad, and I walk by an old gentleman, and he has maybe about 20-25 models sitting on a table. We live too far away to drive back home and get my models, but I told my dad, the next time we come to this cruise nights, you care if I bring my model or two? My dad says, no, go ahead, just don't make a mess of things. So we go to another cruise night. We used to have a little drive-in in Kansas City, Kansas, when we lived in Kansas. I live in the middle of Missouri now, but when we lived in Kansas, used to have a little restaurant called Peter's Drive-In on State Avenue. Dad would go up there and cruise, and one night, or one weekend I should say, they shut maybe about like a block or two down, and we had a full-blown car show. And now mind you, I'm 10, 11 years old at the time. So I take every model my dad would let me fit in this box, and I take it up there, and I set it down. People walking by said, man, that's really neat. Man, I like that. Well, that's really good. You know, they kept saying that stuff. So to me, I'm getting you know, I'm getting swelled up, getting that big ego, you know, like any 10 or 11-year-old does. You know, you get that pat on the back. You're proud of what you've done. You're proud somebody noticed what you've done. So maybe about a year or two goes by, and my dad was just a plain Jane box stock builder. All he did was pull them out of the box and paint them. Matter of fact, I still have one of my dad's builds right here. And here's, I gotta restore it, and you guys already see me restoring Dad's truck. But this right here is a Bronco I got from him. And you can see there's really no clear coat on it. He two-toned it. But look how clean it was. And we're talking about, this was built in '79 when the Boss Hoss Bronco came out. You know what I mean? So he's the box stock builder. The gauges are all done in the dash, and he just did the paint brushing and everything. And one day I'll pull that out of the case and give you guys a better review of it. But it needs some restoring. And so to me, I'm using plug wire. And here's the plug wire I was using. And it comes out of a telephone cord. So I'm taking these wires here. Are huge. Look at that. Look how huge that is. And I'm wiring my motors, right? I'm wiring my motors. I'm taking wheels off of toy cars and putting them on my cars. Fujimi had just started to make aftermarket wheels that were going to my hobby shop. So I picked up what was called the gold wire set. And I put all these on a Mustang. And I detailed the Mustang. I tinted the windows. You know, I just take the backside out and I black them out. The interior is painted. I painted the inserts on the interior. I've made little patterns on the interior. I showed you what I was detailing. You know, I detailed the motor and stuff, and I take it to my first show, and I just know I'm going to win. I just know it. Then they don't even call my name, so I get upset. I try to go ask a guy or two, what did I do wrong? How do I need to win? And I was getting mad. You know what I mean? But they kept patting me on the back, saying, you're doing a good job, just keep going. You're doing a good job, keep going. Stay with it, you'll get it. You know, comments like that. And like Chip had said, some people don't want the criticism. Some people take it as you're smacking them in the face. And they don't hear what needs to be fixed. They hear, oh, I got a piece of shit, I need to give up building. I didn't do that right. I have no clue what needed to be done. I don't need to be building. And, you know, I've dealt with these people before. Before I could come off like, what did Chip say? Chip said that Hunter gets the impression from some people that they think he's a pompous ass, you know, being arrogant. I've never met Hunter personally, but I've watched his videos. I know what he's trying to do for us. He does great work. If you take something from somebody that builds so well as a knock in the knee, then you have an ego problem, is my belief. When I give criticism, I'm not trying to bash anybody. I'm trying to show you what I would do different based on my experience in the hobby, the tools that I use, the paints that I use, and the steps that I go through. I'm not trying to say if you don't build like me, you're crap. I was trying to tell these guys, here's what you need to do. Use primer before paint. If you're going to cut your model up, do it all before paint. You know, these are some comments that I left online, and people come back as, oh, you're a douchebag, you're just an asshole, you know, you do this. You know, I've got my fair share of people that do not like me. They don't care for me. There's many of websites I've gone to that people went to the moderators of that website, and I've been pushed out of that website based on my comments. But I don't come off as an asshole right off. But if you come back at me like you're a big tough internet thug, like we call them, then I'm gonna stay on top of you. I'm gonna give you shit. You know, I'm not gonna lie about it. There's people on YouTube that met me in person. Roadhog, Big Boonski. You know, these guys have attended my local show. There's a great group of guys if we stick together. If not, it could be one hell of a grudge match. You know what I mean? But criticism can be taken as two ways: a stepping stone to get better, or words to start an argument. If you are open to grow, then you're going to take your criticism as an open door to grow. Here's what I was told. Here's what they showed me. Here's what I've done. Now I know what's wrong. A gentleman seen these one year at a show in the project class. He goes, you know, you got the wrong roof on the Chevelle. And I was like, yeah, I was just doing this to build a hardtop. I ended up getting 4 of these kits from Uncle Charlie. I was just going to do one of these as a hardtop. I'm going to do one as a wagon. At the time, I hadn't started this wagon yet. I was just working on the hardtop. And the guy tried to point out to me what I needed to do to make it a real hardtop. And I told him, well, I was trying to do like a custom hardtop. I'll look into what you've told me about the stock thing. And that's all I said. I watched him walk over to another guy and then start picking my car apart. Now, mind you, we're at a show. This is in the contest. And he starts picking my car apart at the show. And I ain't saying nothing to him. We're all entitled to our own opinion. I came home. I started resanding. At the time, I had the 70 Impala window, you know, like this. You know, I had it how the 70 curves. I didn't have it straight up and down yet like that. I didn't tell that guy to mind his own business. I didn't tell the guy to piss off. All I said to him was I was doing my own custom version of it because I wanted a hardtop and I was going to build a wagon. But he took it. He was the one criticizing my work. And once I responded with my response, I didn't say, hey, you go build it and show me what you do. I didn't say that. I told him my projection I was working on. You know, it was in a primer class. It's not built. It's not painted. But he proceeded to walk off and say how I was being arrogant and all this other stuff. You needed to hear the conversation. So my stuff's been picked apart too. I know you guys have left comments how I've done some great work and great stuff like that, but we all have our shortfalls. Chip said himself.
Dad, are you down there?
Chip had even said so himself that he picks his own stuff apart. So if we see it, he knows it's there. You know, that's just the problem we face with trying to criticize somebody. I will tell you the truth. Because, like I said on the no sweeps video that I had, how do you guys feel about the contest of no sweeps? I would rather earn my trophy based on my work versus you guys say, well, that guy will place first, give this guy second, give that guy third. That way they stay in the hobby. I don't think that's fair. Not because I want to win first, second, and third in every class, but because I think you should earn your award versus just not letting that one guy push everybody else out of the hobby. If we do not tell these guys their shortfalls, like Chip was saying about the gentleman's paint, you know what I mean? It's true. I will tell you, if I could see you paint this car, and I could see the crazing and the plastic and stuff, and realize that could have been saved by you putting down a primer coat, and then wet sand that primer coat, and then do your color. So if I reply that, and your next comment to me was, well, I've used this paint before, it's never done this before. Well, true, it might not have. But don't come at me being upset. I was just trying to give you a tip, like Chip had said. Chip said we even need to you know, he made comments about the way the guy held the camera, and that's true too. Camera can do two things for us. It could really help your project when it is a piece of turd, or it could take away from a beautiful project because the camera makes it look like it's junk, you know. But fellas, criticism it comes off in your attitude, I believe. If you're at a show and you see somebody had done something and they go back to your build, that's what I like to do. If you came to me and say, hey man, look, this Cutlass wagon is all wrong, you need to pull this B pillar up, that C pillar needs to be tilted, the D pillar is too angled or whatnot, and you knew I was going for a factory car, not a custom. This right here obviously is a custom, so I'm open to my limitations of what I can and cannot do. But say I was building a factory car, I would much rather hear a builder come to me, critique what I have, and then I would have the option to say, well, I don't understand what you mean. What do you mean I need to move this and that? And then we walk over to his product, and he'll be able to show me the stuff that he's done on his model. Then I realize more that this ain't some guy just walking up nonchalantly, you know, oh, this is a turd, you did this wrong, you did that wrong. And then when I asked what do I need to do, well, I didn't bring none of my stuff here. I didn't feel like it belonged. I don't think it's ready to be shown. You know what I mean? Now, what kind to me, I don't feel like that's a good example. I believe if a builder critiques another builder, you both should be able to have products to compare to. Now, when you do custom body work like what I'm doing here, there's really, you know, it leaves it wide open. But if you're going to go tell me that I've wired my engine wrong, I've put my gear shifting wrong, steering wheel upside down wrong, or something like that, I would much rather somebody have something there to tell me, hey, look, see, when you ran your coil, you need to run your coil from here to here, and it needs to be right here. Because there's some of us that get really good into detailing, but then, like Chip said, it's done wrong. So do we say, oh man, that's a great job because you put $55 worth of aftermarket parts in your build? Or do we tell you the truth? Do we tell you the truth and have you feel like we're being pompous asses? Or do we tell you a lie and you think you're better than you are, and you get this chip on your shoulder anytime somebody says something about the work you've done. I would much rather help a builder grow than to knock him down, be pissed off, and then give up the hobby. So, criticize both aspects of the building. You got to, in order to keep them growing, to keep the hobby growing, and to become the best that you personally can. So open yourself up to criticism. I was talking to Jay House the other day. He builds a lot of big wheeled cars. He does a lot of cutting up, and he does a lot of customizing stuff. And I'm talking to him on the phone, and I noticed that some of his custom made wheels, I told him what I would do different. And before we hung up the phone, he goes, "Thanks, Minnie. I needed that." And I seen his next video this week. He posted up his Porsche. And he immediately changed what I had suggested. Merely suggesting. When you criticize somebody, we are merely giving them a suggestion. A way of going about it. We didn't take it out of their hands and say, "Hey, let me show you how this should be done because you're doing it wrong." No, we make suggestions. We make suggestions to the point to where you can understand us and take it as a learning tool. Or you could take it and hit that unsubscribe button and never listen to another word I say. Never watch another video I do. And you can go back and tell everybody how much of a douche I was to you to not follow me. You know, that's what some criticism has led to. People getting mad, starting feuds. I mean, I've seen feuds. I've been on several different Facebook pages, several different websites. I'm not even on Scale Auto because somebody made a comment about something that I built, and then I turned around and said, well, I wasn't trying to build a factory car, I'm building a custom car. The guy come back and said something else, and then I returned back with, you know what? If you want to build yours factory to specs, you build yours factory specs, and I'll continue to build mine, because no matter what you say, this is the way I'm going about it. And the next thing I know, I had a warning message for confrontation on Scale Auto Mag, and then I haven't been back there since. And I've never changed my name. The only way my name has changed different is on Facebook, but I still go by Minnie when I'm doing my stuff on Facebook. Everybody knows me as Minnie on Facebook, but I've been with lots and lots of internet groups that these people go in there, they start crap, they do shit like what Chip was saying, you know, they only coming in there to start stuff, and they've changed their name 4 or 5 times. You always see me under Minidreams, no matter what I do, no matter what the title is, other than on Facebook. I go by a different name on Facebook, just because of the way some stuff is set up, and so Facebook is the only one I don't go by Minidreams on. But this video is getting long. I don't know what the hell I was doing. Yeah, but like I was saying, there's another builder that he builds some great stuff. I like his subjects. I really like his subjects. He shows his work across the internet. He shows his work. I haven't seen it on YouTube, so don't hold me to YouTube. But I've seen it on several Facebook pages. I've seen it in model cars. I've seen it in Spotlight Hobbies, and I've seen it in another website. But the dude does some really, really, really nice stuff, subject-wise. On camera, they didn't look too bad, but I seen the stuff in person at shows, and I'm like, you take all this time to special make these parts, but then it's rough. It looks neat in pictures, but put it together in the whole car, it's rough. A-arms, roll cages, the way the gauges are set up, custom suspensions, and, you know, like Chip had even criticized himself. He said he's made 3 or 4 chassis. He just can't get it square, and he knows it. But this other guy acts like his stuff is pure perfect. I've done all this custom work. He documents everything he makes. He's making stuff out of resin, brass, aluminum. The guy is doing a lot of hard work, but it's messy. It's really messy. Even his paint work was somewhat shiny, but then on the backside of it, it was messy, guys. I'm trying to tell you that you put all this hard work, you put all this money into it, and then people walk by and they ooh and they ah over it, but nobody's pointing it out. And I think that's what Chip is saying. Do we just keep patting people on the back, says, well, you're doing a good job, man, stay with it, and give them a thumbs up and then walk away? Or do you actually really tell them what you see? I mean, I'm open for criticism. Criticism has taken me from an arrogant child to a pissed off teenager to hell. I'm going to change what I'm doing because what I am doing is wrong. And then I learned from it, and now look. You know, I looking this morning.